Katrina McWhinnie is our next speaker, a Brexit strategist. That is interesting, and in political terms, a contradictory statement. Supporting SMEs in everything Brexit, bringing together 20 plus years of experience in leadership in a variety of professional services, notably legal and insurance firms within the UK. And this background provided Katrina with an excellent platform to establish the McWhinnie Consultancy. Katrina, you're very welcome today, and we look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay? Right, okay. Sorry, I should have spoken and tested this previously. Okay, I'm here to explain the risks, impacts and opportunities that Brexit presents to you as a business. Who in the room, if we could just have a quick show of hands, is looking forwards to Brexit? Hey, some movers. Okay, who doesn't care about Brexit? And who's here for a good lunch? Okay. Only a couple for lunch, okay. Right, so today we touch upon how Brexit impacts the construction sector, what the risks are and what the opportunities are to you as a business. We are seeing a huge growth in the construction sector at the moment, but with the factors of sustainability, Brexit and the ageing workforce, you are certainly not without your challenges. As introduced by Andrew just now, I think, this is me. I felt that the SME sector wasn't having enough coverage when it came to Brexit. The big four cover, such as PwC, KPMG, they cover the large corporates, but the SMEs are left without a voice and are often the most vulnerable in the market, but of course are also more adaptable and agile to change. So it's embracing that and focusing on what those changes can be, that we can grow our businesses so that they're fit for a global future. Okay, so let's have a numbers game. Okay, this will make you feel slightly uncomfortable. Does anybody know what this number presents? Sorry? Number of days left? Not quite. It's the number of business days left until Brexit arrives on the 29th of March 2019. However, what that doesn't take into consideration is, of course, annual leave within your business and other disruptions that may take place and take precedence. So it's really important that we embrace change now and disrupt ourselves before we are disrupted. So you can either be a stayer, a prayer, a stayer, or a player. And I would recommend that you all get together and get playing Brexit. Okay. Right. Okay, so what are the opportunities that Brexit presents? Well, they're quite wide, and what opportunities may bring you may not bring your business. So it impacts us all differently. But there will be global change, and we can look beyond the EU. At the moment, there is a lot of trade wars, disputes taking place over commodities, and tariffs on aluminium at the moment are imposed at 10% by good old Trump. And 25% on steel. And this is already starting to have an impact because with the embargo in Russia, this is pushing up the price of goods. So impacting all of you and, of course, your overall project costs. So look beyond the EU if you can and see if there's any ways of getting better deals. We should be able to open to free trade agreement, depending on what the outcome of the big deal will be. And we are striving towards being the global leaders. Okay, I don't know how many of you in the audience have heard, but the government's priority is not actually Brexit, surprisingly. It is the industrial strategy. This was released in November, and the focus is very much on building a global Britain fit for the future, focusing on innovation and technology. And we really need to work upon our skills, particularly with the younger cultures, so that we can meet that criteria and be a world leader. Okay, Brexit status. So where are we now? I'll just quickly go over the dull bits. Lots of people ask me how I voted, and I'll just clear the air now. I voted Remain. My mother-in-law moved to Italy, and I would really love her to stay there. So, but thank you. Okay, so where are we now? The other issue is, of course, I never get invited to dinner parties now. Being a lawyer and a Brexit strategist, it makes dull company. Anyway, jokes out the way. Okay, so Brexit. The European citizens, it has been confirmed in phase 1 that European citizens will have the right to remain, those that have been here for 5 years or more. And I don't know if any of you saw, late yesterday evening, the government published these, I'm going to get this right now, settlement status report. It's 60 pages long. But in essence, I will just outline it to you. It says that any EU citizens that have been here for 5 years can qualify for the right to remain status. They will make an online application, so it's quite straightforward. It will be easy, £65. You need a photo, and I think that's pretty much it. There are loads of exceptions to the rules, obviously, because it is a 60-page document and it is government material, but in essence, that is the picture. The cut-off date will be the 30th of June 2021, so quite a while yet to get your workforce up to speed. Where are we now? Well, we're currently dealing with the Irish border issue. It's a real fudge. I don't know what the solution is going to be. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't sit in Theresa May's office, so I can't give you the answers to that. But even if I did, I don't think Theresa May has the answers yet either. Having attended a Financial Times talk last week, there was perhaps there was suggestion that we would have a deal scenario with a deal on goods, so that we remain in the single market for goods, which will ease trade between the EU and the UK, which is particularly useful for manufacturing. But we will that will be the compromise, so that we can have there won't be so many harsh regulations surrounding services. And at the moment, I think 80% of the UK actually are centred around services. So, but that's just a guess. At the moment, we still don't know. When will there be certainty? Your guess is as good as mine. Sorry, I ought to speed on. Oh, sorry. And the other issue there is that we are paying a huge fat sum of 39 billion to the European Union, together with 2 years' worth of payments into the budget until the end of the transition period. The withdrawal bill's also been passed now. So, what are the risks? I will quickly flash through these and go into some further detail as I proceed. So, people really are a big risk, especially for construction. 26% of construction workers are from the EU, although it's slightly less outside it's slightly less outside London. It's 7% across the nations. Okay, finance, that will have a big impact on many businesses, particularly for growth. Operations, supply chain and logistics kind of come under one umbrella. Technology and innovation, sales and marketing have to look at things differently from on a cultural basis, and whether your items are fit for good, for use. Business strategies and your legal and regulatory. So, do you employ people? Show of hands, many of you employ people? Okay, it's quite a lot of you. So this will really impact you. Okay, architects. Now, the UK's architecture sector has seen a slump by a third, which could cut off vital access to talent, jeopardising the UK's position as a global architectural hub. And we're seeing less and less people train through architecture at the moment, and also the university degrees are no longer fit for purpose. Whilst we are the fourth leader, we have 4 out of 10 universities, and the best universities in the world, a lot of the degrees are no longer fit for purpose, so they're having to be redressed. And I think a lot more focus is going towards apprenticeships. And then we have building trades. We're seeing a real slump here. I think this is the one particular area that we're seeing difficulty in attracting. And again, the apprenticeship scheme is still not signed off. Plastering and I think it's bricklayers. With 80% of main contractors struggling to recruit bricklayers and 76% of them lacking carpenters, 56% of those are wanting plasterers. It's really important that we get ahead of the curve and plan our workforce now. Okay, engineers, this has been in long decline. Again, many of the engineering minds, they are attracted to the city jobs. A lot of city, those that study engineering at universities are now being poached by the city banks. Being poached by the city banks because they have a problem-solving mind, and therefore they're thrown a huge salary and taken from the engineering sector. So it's really important that we really give them the kudos that they deserve. Across the world, engineers are put in high esteem. Yet in the UK, for some reason, they just don't attract that kudos. Surveyors, again, I have a statistic, which I can't find. Okay. Oh, hang on. We need 4,210 additional surveyors each year between 2017 and 2021. Now, I don't know about you, but I've not heard that many people training in surveying lately. And that's to keep up with the skills required for tomorrow's construction industry. So, in manufacturing, this is a sector that's really embraced innovation. They've seen a slump for the last 40 years. So during that time, they've now used innovation and technology to overcome the hurdles, using a lot of robotics and AI. Robotics, they don't get tired, they don't have a bad day at the office, they're pretty reliable. So yeah, they certainly do have their benefits over people, but of course, they do still have their errors, their problems in terms of cyber security. But I think we'll be seeing a lot more of the construction sector over the next 20 years really embrace that change. Okay, so finance. If you intend to grow over the next 5 years, finance will certainly impact you. And we're seeing a lot of growth in construction, as I've mentioned on several occasions. Okay, we are looking, the economy is looking for 1 million new houses. We're rebuilding the prisons, school, there's the school improvement plan, HS2, rail electrification. So there's a lot of projects in construction taking place at the moment. But how will we commit and work with that? We're seeing the likes of Carillion that have really caused quite an impact and stir on the construction sector. So it's really important at the moment that you do chase down your age debt and keep under control of your finances. If you are looking to grow in the next 5 years, I would strongly recommend that you gain a good relationship with your bank, and not necessarily just one bank. It's worthy of having a few on side. And securing a loan now, and investing it, sorry, nearly fell off the stage. Darn scaffold. And invest that money now so that you know that you can proceed with your projects having the security of funding behind you. Currency volatility, we're already seeing the movement of the pound up and down all the time. In some respects, that's beneficial because it attracts foreign investment. And we're seeing a lot of that in the construction sector. But it's also having an impact on the goods that are coming in. I think we bring in 92% of timber into the UK. It's from the EU. So that is a huge impact. How will we overcome that? Well, we can't really grow timber to that extent here, so we will continue to have to purchase it from another state, be that the EU, who's on our doorstep, or perhaps further afield. So, yeah, have a look at your currency volatility. You may want to put funding arrangements in place to counteract that, perhaps buy currency in advance, have insurance systems, hedge your bets, and perhaps split half of your outlay now and put it in hedging and trade normally. Cash cycle, know your profit and loss accounts, and just keep on top of it, and know your break-even analysis. So be aware of increasing costs. What is the maximum that your project can allow before it's no longer viable? So, for example, if supplies are increasing, employee costs are increasing, these will all have overall impacts on your project costs. So it's well worthy of giving a generous overspill to address that if that should arise. And funding, if any of you rely on European funding, you may want to have a look at other options, particularly have a chat with the Department for International Trade, Business West, all your trade associations, and they're quite up to speed at the moment on new funding programmes, of which they are aplenty. It's just difficult to express all of those when there are so many at the moment. Okay, I hope I'm all right for time. Probably get, pardon? 4 minutes, right, I better get speed on then. Right, okay, supply chain. So, would strongly recommend you map and audit your supply chains, discovering that a lot of timber comes from the European Union. It's really worthy of finding out whether is any vulnerability in those chains, and again for any other construction goods, because you can't afford for these items to be stuck at borders or on roads because of poor infrastructure. So it's really important to map and locate any vulnerabilities. I would say logistics again. So there's going to be 50,000 out of the 80,000 lorry drivers are from the EU. This could present a problem in delivering items from A to B if we no longer have a plentiful supply of drivers in the UK. So worthy of taking into account. Look at your end-to-end operations. Is there anything that you can do more efficiently? How will you deal with customs documents? These all need to be addressed. Have a look at your technology. And I think you can all agree with me that technology really does need to get up to speed. We're very slow in the construction sector of innovating, and it's really time to focus on that change. So what can be done? Really, this is more of a focus on the people, but secure your current workforce, engage with them, but also not just your workforce, your suppliers and your customers. Engage, what are their concerns around Brexit? But also it's great to strike up that relationship for future trading as well. Explain your Brexit strategy, but focus on the positive aspects to your employees. Make them feel involved so that you can retain your staff, recruit, relate and retain. Everybody likes communication, want to know what's going on, and that will avoid losing many of your employees. There are, of course, always other factors that will affect that issue. Give your employees a career path. There's some amazing apprenticeship schemes that are out there now. Embrace them. A lot of apprentices will learn about sustainability and health and safety, and will then bring that back into the workplace. So it's really important that we embrace change. And that's from all levels. That is not just apprenticeships for the young. That is now apprenticeships for the for people that want to change their career path. And an interesting statistic for you is that it costs £30,000 on average to replace an employee, taking at the moment 28 weeks. So look at securing your top talent. You don't want to lose them, and you certainly don't want to be costs of 30,000. You could use that to really train up one of your employees that will feel valued. Consider bonuses. Are you offering competitive packaging? Look at flexible working and job sharing, and have slick systems in place, i.e. computer technology programs. Okay. Business strategy. It's time to get fit. You need to audit, design your strategy and apply it today. You really do not have time to spare. It can take 12 months to put alternative plans into place. Everybody is waiting for certainty. Would that be the case for this audience? They're waiting for clarity. We have too many unknowns. We don't recruit Europeans, and we don't buy anything from the EU. This is all issues that I'm hearing for avoiding dealing with Brexit. But as you can see from the risks that I've outlined today, it really is time that we got with the Brexit programme and got match fit. Okay, so just quickly touch upon legals. I could go on forever, but I'm sure we haven't quite got forever. Brexit's boring enough, and legal doesn't get much better. So what I would recommend, well, as we know, European law is going to be adopted into UK domestic law, and it will change as time goes on, and we get to revisit that. One I would really focus on at the moment, as I'm short on time now, is looking at your contracts. Ask a lawyer to review your contracts. It really wouldn't cost that much, and it's so important, especially for your suppliers, and really if you're delivering projects and they're likely to go over time or out of your control, it's worthy of getting a force majeure clause in, which is a clause to address things that are outside of your control. As you may want to discontinue that contract, or if your contract's no longer viable and you just can't afford to do it, or it would cause you to go down the pan, then you need a get-out clause. So really do review those contracts. So the future. In 20 years' time, it's anticipated that man will land on Mars. We'd never have thought it. And who knows what the future could bring. It's a time to embrace, to really review our businesses. We've been complacent for a long time. And the other issue I would address is this isn't just about Brexit. We're seeing global change on a large scale. China, the Commonwealth countries, Europe, for example, and they're all at the moment challenging the WTO as well, so that could be under change too. So it really is time for businesses to get global fit. Digital in the marketplace, I'm nearly there now. Construction is slow to take on innovation. It prefers traditional methods, and we're starting to see timber technology, flat pack buildings using steel framework, laminate timber, cut with minimal waste, and straw bales as insulation. So it's a very interesting time for construction. And Bristol is also the UK's smartest city, and the west of England is anticipated to be Europe's fastest growing region by 2036. So we really do need to get ahead of the curve and start planning now. That really is my emphasis and my overall message here. So, what could a future Brexit look like? Well, we need to, what could post-Brexit look like for the construction sector? I'll rephrase. It's not just about leaving the EU, but it's about what we do as a future. As business leaders, it's to you to make sure that your business is competent, efficient, and set ready to go for a future. Contingency planning, plan for what you know, and you can act upon that now, and contingency plan for could, should, would going forward, so that if complications do arise, you can fall back on those plans rather than making hasty last-minute decisions that are often costly. Okay, so it's time for us to be agile and entrepreneurial and take advantage of Brexit. It's not all doom and gloom. Okay, thank you very much. You've been a great audience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pardon?